Now, in the last video I did, I was talking about how the answer to any training related question that starts with these three words, what's the best, is always it depends. It depends on a lot of different things. But what I'm going to do for you right now is I'm going to share with you the underlying fundamental foundational principles that should guide and influence the decision-making process when designing a strategy aimed at producing the best results so you can get a maximal return from your investment of time and effort. Now, I call these principles the $25,000 principles because if you wanted to train with me over the course of an entire year, that's how much it would cost you. And these are the principles that would determine what we do in our time together to get you the best results based on what you're training for. Now, those of you who have followed me and watched my videos will have heard of these principles before, and the reason I'm repeating them is because the best information generally remains the same and it bears repeating until people can understand it and practically apply it. Now, as it relates to the principles, the first thing is you have to have a why. Why are you doing what you do? Did you go to a building called the gym or whatever it's called, go through a tour with a sales representative, sit down with them at the end of the tour, agree to let them take money off your credit card every single month in exchange for access to their facility because you simply enjoy spending time from your life that you'll never get back inside of a building called the gym? Did you do it because you have too much energy and you need an outlet to burn off some energy? Did you do it because you genuinely enjoy picking up weights, moving them around, and maybe or maybe not putting them back from where you got them and then walking out the door? This is likely not why anybody ever joins a gym. The reason you're there, whether you're aware of it or not, is to promote a response, to promote an internal response. Building muscle, getting stronger, losing fat, looking better based on your subjective assessment of what looks good to you, and improving your level of physical preparedness for sport are all internal responses. They're physiological, neurological, metabolic responses, and you should cater the way you do what you do to promoting the response that you're there to get. You can concurrently promote multiple types of responses or modify the way you do what you do to promote one type of response at the expense of the others. Now, irrespective of the response you're trying to promote, you're going to have to make your muscles do some work. They're going to need to be recruited. And in some cases, they're going to need to be fatigued. But you can't fatigue a muscle without first recruiting it. You want to build muscle, you want to recruit and fatigue as many muscle fibers as possible throughout a muscle's entirety without overworking your capacity to recover. You got to pick the right tools for the job and use them the right way to promote this response. This is dependent on your capacity to recruit the muscles. If your capacity to recruit them is limited or minimal, then it should influence the way you're doing what you do. You have to understand that there's a minimal threshold that needs to be reached to promote the response. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you do too much work, you could overwork your capacity to recover, and that will limit the response that you're trying to promote. Work does not equal results because if you do too much work, your body can't positively recover. There's a limited amount of volume that your body can tolerate, so you need to work within the minimal and maximal threshold. Now, you don't even need to know what the fuck you're doing. As long as you go to the gym and you work hard and what you're doing isn't completely idiotic, you can promote a positive response. The underlying motivating driving factor when you're training to promote a response should be this: impose a demand. Those are the three most important words there are as it relates to training to promote a response. Impose a demand. From there, you have to understand that training is a subjective experience that only you can experience. You got to pay attention to the feedback that your body's giving you. Pay attention to the internal cues so that you can make the appropriate course correction as you go to promote the response that you're there to promote. External cues like what exercises you're doing, the sets, the reps, the rest, the tempo, the weight is all consequential. If you understand why you're there in the first place, this fills itself out. But people have it ass backwards. This is like a recipe that you're trying to cook. So if you're trying to cook something, you got your ingredients, you cook the recipe. If it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to based on your subjective assessment of how it's supposed to taste, are you going to keep making it this way? Probably not. You're either going to add or subtract ingredients next time to promote the response that you're there to get. But with training, nobody does this. They just follow the externals and hopefully it promotes the internal response that they're there to promote. This is not training. This is training. Understanding the response, recruit and fatigue, impose a demand, pay attention, and make the appropriate course correction. These are the underlying fundamental foundational principles that should guide and influence the decision-making process that will produce the best results for you based on your goal. So you get a maximal return on your investment of time and effort. The problem here is that there's no set variables here. It's going to change based on the way your body is responding to the work that you're doing. And your body's going to respond based on the focus, intensity, concentration, and effort that goes into the work that you do. It's impossible to forecast beforehand how your body's going to perform and how your body's going to respond to the work that you're doing. When you understand that training is a subjective experience and you know the response you want to promote, the rest fills itself out. Now, this bears repeating because a lot of people aren't getting it. People still ask me after watching the videos, how many sets, how many reps, does this workout program look good? What exercises should I be doing? I'm saying, man, you're not understanding this. Understand the response. You have to learn how to use the tools. You have to understand that if you don't have the capacity to recruit the muscles when doing an exercise, you might want to reevaluate including that exercise into your strategy. I've given a lot of tips and information now to help increase your capacity to recruit muscles. And if nothing's working, then drop what you're doing and move on to something else to promote the response that you're there to promote. This is what training is. Promoting a positive response. Know the response, recruit, fatigue in some cases, impose a demand, give your body what it needs to recover from the demand, and then repeat the fucking process. This is not training. This is consequential. These are external cues that do not guarantee the result that you're there for. So that's something I wanted to share real quick because a lot of people aren't getting it. Hopefully a lot of people can understand this and now practically apply it, and hopefully it enhances the results that they're getting and gets them better results and maximizes their return on investment of time and effort. If you like this information, share it. Click the fucking button at the bottom, subscribe to the channel. I'll keep bringing you the best information that you are going to find as it relates to training to build muscle, get stronger, lose fat, look better, improve your level of physical preparedness, all that fucking shit.